Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. I have good news. Microsoft and AMD are announcing Heterogeneous C++ AMPed language for developers. Now we're going to go into what this is in just a second. I have done this in an article as well, which does have a couple of relevant links for you if you need a little bit more information, including some of the stuff we're going to be discussing in just a moment regarding humor. Well, I've already done a breakdown, so if you need that information or you need a full list of products and specifications, then you can go ahead and check the article out. So, as I mentioned earlier, Advanced Micro Devices, also known as AMD, have been working in collaboration with Microsoft for this, and it is a fairly large milestone actually. It's going to be very much open source, and the tool chains are basically allowing them to develop both LLVM, which has nothing at all to do with virtual machines. Instead, LLVM is a projected collaboration of modular and reusable compile and tool chains. I'm having one of those days where I can't speak properly. Toolchain technologies, as well as Clang, which is another compiler front end for C++, as well as C and a few other C-based languages. So in theory, once again theory, this will allow developers and software plugin creators, that type of thing, to be able to create targeted applications for heterogeneous platforms. So this would be, for example, not just desktops, but also servers and handheld devices, that type of thing. So AMD have a consistent track record of enriching the developer experience, and we're proud for the first open implementation of C++ AMP available to enable greater performance and more power-efficient applications. This was said by the Corporate Vice President of Heterogeneous Applications and Solutions over at AMD. Hopefully I'm going to pronounce his name without butchering it. Manju Hejdi. And anyway, he continued by saying the cross-platform release is another step in strengthening AMD's developer solutions, allowing for increased productivity and accelerated applications through shared physical memory across the CPU and GPU on both Linux and Windows. Meanwhile, Microsoft also chimed in. Microsoft said AMD continued to deliver an excellent developer tools for heterogeneous programming, partnering with AMD to deliver C++ AMP for Linux and open source communities was a natural step for Microsoft as we work to improve the performance and developer experience on modern computing systems. So the key here, out of quote, the key here is a couple of points. Firstly, this does not just work on AMD hardware. This will work, of course, on Intel APUs and SoCs. This will work on NVIDIA GPUs as well, and so on and so on and so on. There are a couple of prerequisites, might I add. They must be fully OpenCL compliant, but if it is, then they're good. Now, a major benefit of this latest release is actually pretty simple. It natively supports the heterogeneous unified memory architecture. So, for example, like AMD's Humor, I've got an article which is linked in the article, well, the article for YouTube. So if you want to click on that and you want to find out more about Humor, because it is part of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So the technologies in this are basically pretty simple. The idea is that the CPU and GPU could basically share the same piece of memory. Now, with this new language and this advancement in the language, it means that, quite simply put, AMD have gone yet another step forward to enabling the CPU and GPU to be much more efficient when they're actually communicating with one another. And there are definitely going to be some scenarios where that's a major benefit. In addition to this, and this is off topic for AMD, but certainly getting onto the same type of subject, DDR4 is becoming mainstream. It's not there yet, but DDR4 is starting to arrive, and certainly within the next couple of years you can expect both AMD and Intel to have pretty solid DDR4 plans. By pretty solid I mean we're probably going to start seeing multiple platforms. This is really important for a couple of reasons. One, it's lower power and it's faster, so yes, the CPU is going to have a bit more memory, but the primary reason behind it is actually so that you get more memory bandwidth for built-in GPUs, because the GPUs on the dies at the moment, they're just really being held back with lack of memory. You could go ahead and you could Google this yourselves, but if you were to Google like DDR3 performance with APU, you could see that faster DDR3 memory definitely makes a huge difference in the performance of the APU, particularly when you're dealing with like the more powerful Kivari series, which of course is actually faster at the moment anyway than Intel's HD series. So there are a couple of things to really think about here. Linux is starting to definitely move towards more gaming, with obviously Valve fully supporting it, which is a good thing. You've got the new DirectX, which is going to be leveraging, from what the rumours are saying anyway, they're going to be definitely leveraging more compute functionality. So that's another point. You've also got AMD, which are definitely pushing the open source thing, and it's going to become pretty exciting pretty quickly in my personal opinion. So things definitely starting to move forward in not just compute, but just the whole series of how all of this is going to work. Now for gaming, it might not be necessarily a huge deal, DDR4 ironically at the moment. If you are a traditional gamer that has, let's just say, a 2500K or something like that, in other words a decent Intel CPU like a quad core, it could be faster, it could be like the 4670, it could be the 4770K, whatever, it doesn't matter, I'm just using it as an example, combined with a good high-end GPU. So for example, the GTX 770 or the R9 280X, something like that. Certainly if you've got something like this, DDR4 is possibly for the foreseeable future not going to be making huge differences. Obviously the extra memory could help in some cases, but I, ironically enough, suspect that DDR4 is really going to be coming more into play with memory bandwidth when we see DirectX 12. And this is just a theory, I have no benchmarks to back this up, but I wouldn't be surprised, because obviously you're going to be getting more cores, and more core utilization means theoretically more memory consumed. So I wouldn't be surprised if DDR4, DirectX 12 and everything else just really kinds of they all kind of come together, which is generally speaking what happens. You get like these major shifts in the market. Anyway guys, I've been a little bit what's the word, out of it I think today. It's just been one of those really weird kind of surreal crazy days. So hopefully I'll be back to normal tomorrow, but hopefully you've kind of understood everything. Anyway, I've written it down as an article, and hopefully it's fairly comprehensive for you, if I can actually bloody well say the word. God, you know it's bad when you can barely speak English. Anyway, I'll see you soon, take care, and bye for now.